So when it comes to Hassan, you've made probably over 20 videos about him, right? And I don't think they're unwarranted.
Probably.
Usually when people make videos about someone, I think at a certain point, you're just dragging it. Like you're just trying to find stuff to say to rehash success and just to make more money. But I think with Hassan, I think when there's specifically ongoing geopolitical issues that are evolving, that you actually do deserve ongoing videos that can range, on the 21st episode, I'm not going to be like, all right, bro's dragging it. It's like, no, actually, he's responding to the proportionate amount of disinformation and BS that's being spread by the largest left-wing political streamer on Twitch.
On the planet. But I would go as far as to say that every single one of my videos, I think, individually, is pretty much damning enough to end the career of an average guy. I know it seems like, oh, I can't believe he made 20 videos on this guy, but I feel like each one individually is enough.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Yeah. So, when you're dealing with straight up propaganda and lies and terrorist support daily on the stream, a lot of it is not super easy to see right away. A lot of it is really easy. Like, when he goes 10 tones down, I support Houthi terrorists, and Houthi terrorists caused the deaths of 377,000 people in Yemen. They're not good people.
Wow, I didn't know that. That many?
Houthi.
Wow.
Well, they didn't directly kill them, but they caused a lot of these deaths. They contributed to them because basically Yemen is one of the poorest countries in the world. The Houthis kind of took over the government a little bit. They killed a lot of political leaders. They steal lots of the humanitarian aid and the food that they use for themselves and that they use to make rockets and missiles. That caused a massive humanitarian crisis in Yemen.
That's
they also
crazy.
directly killed lots of... Yeah, they're horrible. Yeah, they're horrible people.
Right.
So when he says he supports the terrorists, because at least the terrorists are bombing Israel, and it's like, A, they're bombing civilians, B, they're bombing American ships, C, they're kidnapping Filipino sailors randomly, and D, they're torturing their own people.
Right.
Only 6% of the people in Yemen like the Houthis. The other 94% of people are being oppressed.
Mm-hmm. So is it kind of like the cartel, would you say? Like in Mexico, in terms of like how the public looks at it? Because the public doesn't really have a choice. Like they can't vote out the cartel.
I suppose it's similar to that. The major difference is, as opposed to the cartel, whose main purpose is making crazy amounts of money, from what I understand, the Houthis are fighting like a extremist religious war.
Yeah. Okay. I understand. That makes sense.
They throw gay people off buildings and shit.
Right. So then when Hassan basically, the kid that he had on his stream that everyone has seen by now, he's Yemeni pirate, right? That's what he is?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So this kid who he glazed and said was akin to Luffy, which is insane, is basically part of the group of people that is doing all of these things actively. Like this isn't like, oh, this happened and in the past, like this group, like if you call someone a Nazi now, they're not part of the Nazi group that's doing gassings, right? But with him, he's part of the group that is actively doing shit. Yeah.
So currently Hassan is denying that, as he calls him, Yemeni teenager is actually part of the Houthis directly. However, that Yemeni teenager did himself say that he is a soldier for the Houthis. He said that himself. So again, you could believe him or not. So that's one thing he said. Another thing that he has done is he was hanging out with the prisoners that were kidnapped by Houthis.
Okay, pause right there. I want you to reiterate that point after I say what I think about what you just first said, right? I think Hassan actually has something to lose, right? So he will deny that who the person that he platformed, he'll deny that person is as bad as people are saying, right? Whereas the kid will not, because he has nothing to lose and he takes pride in it. I think there's the big difference.
I mean, the kid posted, if you'd see what that, we're calling him a kid. He's a 19-year-old. He's not really a kid. Hassan calls him a kid, which could be accurate because the Houthis use child slave soldiers. Yeah, not very good people.
Right.
But this kid, it's like saying Austrian painter, exactly. So this kid was hanging out with the Filipino hostages that were captured by Houthis. So I don't know how he got to those people, but he probably had something to do with the Houthi movement.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, so then you were saying that he had something to do with taking people prisoner? So he took people prisoner?
So the Houthis are a hipster pirate group that bombs ships and kidnaps whoever they can, basically. They say that they're doing it to fight for Palestine. They are not actually fighting for anything because they are just bombing civilians. There was a ship going, I believe, from India to Turkey.
Are they bombing civilians in Israel?
Yeah, they do basically daily. Well, they
Right.
stopped because they got bombed back.
Okay.
But they'll probably start up again soon.
Well, I mean, just to play devil's advocate, wouldn't that make sense then for them to say that they're doing it for Palestine if it's against Israel?
Well, the way I see it, if you are doing something, then that thing that you do should probably result in something. I'll ask you a hypothetical.
Yeah.
The Hamas terrorists that started the entire war that currently, resulted in
Right, which was October 7th, right?
October 7th.
Yeah.
Would you say that Hamas did good for Palestine when they did that?
I think they did. I wouldn't say they did, no.
I don't think they did. I think they wanted to kill Jews because that's what they said. They said themselves that they're doing it to kill Jews.
Is that true?
Yep.
Okay,
they said that. That is literally what the Hamas terrorists say. That's what the charter says. That's what they said. And they knew that it didn't help Palestine or Gaza or anything like that because Israel hit back, and realistically, it's horrible.
Right. You think if they actually cared that they wouldn't have done it in the first place because they knew that they would have the consequences to face?
Well, first of all, yes. Second of all, bro, I don't think you realize how bad it is. In Gaza, the Palestinian civilians...
No, I don't. I actually don't.
The Palestinian civilians in Gaza were protesting Hamas. They said, because something you have to realize, Israel said from the beginning, if Hamas surrenders and gives up the hostages, the war's over. There are still currently hostages.
Hostages from
Hamas
October 7th?
From October 7th. Yes.
Still?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
There's still like 50 left that they...
Oh, wow.
That they're, yeah. So,
just for leverage?
Yeah, essentially.
Okay. Interesting.
So, anywho, so that is more or less the argument. They said if you would have given back the hostages and surrendered, the war would stop. Now, the Palestinians in Gaza protested Hamas because Gaza got whacked pretty hard. So they were protesting Hamas. Do you know what Hamas's response was to the Palestinian people that they were fighting to, quote unquote, liberate? You know what they did?
What did they do?
They murdered the leaders of the protest, and they dropped the bodies of those on the doorstep of their families as a warning not to protest against Hamas.
In Palestine?
In Gaza.
So but it was like the people that they're claiming to defend?
That's kind of what I'm saying. They're only claiming to defend them as far as like clout goes. They're monsters. They murdered the Palestinian protesters. They are a power-hungry, sycophantic
even though they're claiming to represent them, if the people that they hurt basically said, we don't want you to represent us, they killed them. Yeah?
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Wow. Okay. That's disturbing.
Yeah, and Hassan supports these guys. He claims he supports, Palestine, but he supports Hamas, the terrorists.
And that I know. I mean, he's not coy about it. I mean, he's very open and abrasive when he says that he supports it. And look, I mean, for what it's worth, I'm never going to fault him for being elusive about his own beliefs or hiding what his true beliefs are, because I think he is pretty honest about it. Like he has said, I support, the Houthis, I support Hamas. And then there's the clip of the black, what's that guy's name? The one, he's like half black streamer, NMP Lowell, when he's with him, and he basically says, are these guys like terrorists? And then he's like, America calls them terrorists, and if you want to call them that, then yeah.
So actually, that was referring to Hezbollah, not Hamas.
Okay.
So Hezbollah is okay. So imagine this: Israel is a really tiny plot of land, surrounded by a lot of Arab states. Directly at the bottom of Israel, there's Gaza at the south, and okay. So I feel like I got to do a little history lesson.
No, I mean, and this will be good for people who don't know, who are not fully aware of it, right? Like, why is commentary only about politics now? I think that commentary, when we look at like the 2016 cringe culture stuff, that was like innocent. Someone like Pokemon Go kid is cringe. Okay, 10 million views. I think we've since called that stuff very lowbrow, and so we have to justify making content where we shit on others, and the justification that's used now has been deemed by the public as justifiable, which is that people have like audacious political views, and that's just what it is. And I think it is a good justification. I think if you look at someone and you look at their political views and how they use these views to connect with people, you can shit on them. I think that's fair, Then I mean, it does suck from like an entertainment perspective that commentary is politics now, but at the same time, like, the world is politics. If you look at the polarization, it's never been higher, so it's the stuff that people actually care about the most. Well,
I mean, I also kind of feel like if you're trying to do drama content and you want to criticize a streamer, you kind of have to know what the streamer is talking about and all the lies the streamer propagates.
Yeah, right? 100%. Yeah, 100%.
So Gaza, for example, it was so in 1967 there was a war called the 6-Day War. It was where 5 countries around Israel, 5 Arab countries attacked Israel. Basically, Israel pushed them back. They ended up winning the war. They ended up pushing them like south deep into Egypt. They gave that land back, except for Gaza, which Israel kept at the time. So at that time, there was mixed ethnicities in Gaza. Essentially, there was a small minority of Jewish people living in Gaza. Your stream just went black.
Yeah, I was changing my camera, sorry.
Oh, okay. And in around 2005, they decided, you know what, we're going to be giving Gaza to the Palestinians as a place for them. All the Jews were told to leave Gaza. They pulled them out, and they said, we're going to give this spot as a peace treaty. And they made a deal with them that you'll keep Gaza, and we'll be homies, we'll be besties. As far as 3,000 years of beef goes, they were not homies and besties. Since in 2005, they actually elected Hamas. Hamas was originally elected by Gaza. Hamas became a radical terrorist group that since 2005 fired around 11,000 missiles into civilian cities in Israel. And it culminated in this October 7, 2023 war that they jumped over the wall, they attacked Israel, and they killed like 1,200 civilians.
Right. They're in charge of the government, right?
They're in charge of the government.
Okay. And so wouldn't there be some benefit for like regime change, like ASAP, right?
They don't want regime change.
Right. Well, obviously they're not a democracy, but like
not anymore.
You know,
they were elected in 2005, and they basically controlled the area since then. Anyone that's okay. So let me tell you something. The guy that orchestrated
are they
October
democracy?
7th,
I'm talking about an ass. I don't know if they're democracy. I assume not.
Yeah, no, not right now, for sure.
Okay.
So the guy that orchestrated October 7th was a terrorist named Yahya Sinwar. He's dead. May he rot in hell. So that guy, insanely enough, was known as the Butcher of Khan Yunis because apparently he murdered any Palestinian voice that went up against him. Like he was a real monster, that guy.
Okay.
Like he killed anyone that he didn't like.
Right.
So that's Gaza and Hamas.
That's
now,
the little history lesson. Gotcha.
History lesson. At the north of Israel, there's the country Lebanon. Southern Lebanon is the host of Hezbollah, another terrorist organization. They were being controlled by Nasrallah.
And that's the one. They're very musical people. They're very musical people. Yeah.
Nope, that's the Houthis.
Oh.
That's the Houthis. They're a terrorist organization based in Yemen.
Okay.
So Nasrallah.
There's so many, I can't keep track. He likes all of them, though. That's sort of.
He likes all of them. Somehow he likes all of them.
Okay, gotcha. Yes.
Yeah. So not Sinwar. That's Hamas. Nasrallah is the terrorist that was in charge of Hezbollah in southern Lebanon.
Okay.
So those guys,
Nasrallah.
Hassan Nasrallah. So that's the guy that Hassan said, he's super smart. He reads so many books. He's actually kind of based. He's not even anti-Semitic, bro. That's his new one. He says that he's not even anti-Semitic. Now, Nasrallah is known for quotes like, I want all Jews in the world to move to Israel so that when we kill all the Jews in Israel, we get all the Jews at the same time. That's something that Nasrallah, the terrorist, said. So when Hassan says that guy's not anti-Semitic, that's not exactly accurate.
Okay. Well, if that's one of his quotes, then I probably would say that that's not the friendliest towards Jewish people for sure. And so is he alive still?
No, he's dead. They killed him.
Okay. Gotcha. So he was part of Hezbollah.
Correct. He was the leader of Hezbollah.
Okay.
Hezbollah also, by the way, contributed to the murders of over 600,000 people in Syria.
Okay. Gotcha. All right. So I just want to circle back to Hassan real quick, because I think when you look at all the conflict and the history, he's clearly chosen a side and you've clearly chosen a side, and they're diametrically opposed. And I want to look at I want to magnify in glass the recent stuff that he's done that you were talking about, right? Which was that he was talking about the UN report. And if you want to go into anything around that, feel free, get sidetracked. If this reminds you of like another thing that he said about like a different group, then go off on that. I want to dissect expect specifically? Because when I was watching your stream with Tectone, that's what you were saying, and I'm like, damn, this guy knows his stuff. He came prepared, and so just the floor is yours.
Basically, Hassan has been doing this thing on his streams where essentially he has been denying the rape of women if they are Israeli women. That's kind of been his move. Like anytime someone brings up rapes that happened on October 7th, he will laugh and he'll be like, "Oh, that didn't happen." This is the sexual violence report done for the October 7th terrorist attack. It's very long. Hassan probably didn't read it, but like you could just look at some of them. I'll show you some. So remember, Hassan showed this conclusion, right? This the conclusion here
on stream.
Well, Ethan showed it on their debate, and he's like, "Yeah, of course I know about this already. It's just circumstantial evidence. There's no actual that the Hamas terrorists raped anybody." Right?
Interesting.
So the conclusion is, overall, based on the totality of information gathered from multiple and independent sources at the different locations, there are responsible grounds to believe that the conflict-related sexual violence occurred at several locations across the Gaza periphery, including in the form of rape and gang rape during the October 7th attacks. Credible, circumstantial information, which may be indicative of some form of sexual violence, including genital mutilation, sexualized torture, cruel, inhuman, degrading treatment, was also gathered.
So he's denying that there were rapes, basically.
So this is the conclusion. He's denying that it happened. And he's saying, well, even though the conclusion says it probably happened, it's just circumstantial information. So we can't actually believe it. Picture it didn't happen, bro. Right? That's the that's the Hassan argument. Picture it didn't happen because it's only circumstantial, and why would he believe circumstantial information? Now, something you may not be aware of.
Circumstantial meaning what?
Evidence. Oh, I'm glad you asked, because that is something he avoided. So this is the circumstantial information. Here's one, for example. You see, these are different cities that were attacked.
Okay.
They're all categorized in different little parts of the UN report. So, for example, this one. During the attacks on Kibbutz Kfar Aza, located 3 kilometers from Gaza perimeter fence, approximately 50 residents out of its population of 700 were killed when hundreds of militants entered the kibbutz. These militants are the Hamas terrorists.
Right.
Armed with military-grade weaponry. Most killings were reported to have occurred in the 12 hours before the IDF were deployed in the area. Dozens of houses were burned. Fighting between militants and IDF forces in and around the kibbutz reportedly to have ended only on the 10th of October, complicating the recovery of bodies. The mission team collected information from the first responders who reported discovering bodies of women naked with their hands tied behind their backs, gunshot wounds in the head. While verification of sexual violence against these victims was not possible at this point, right? You have to realize verification means finding cum in their vagina. There's no other verification. You can't verify.
Which they can't really do.
Yeah, almost all rape evidence is circumstantial inherently.
Okay, right.
However, the available circumstantial information, all right, so this is the circumstantial information that we're talking about that has believed. Notably, the recurring pattern of female victims found undressed, bound, and shot indicates that sexual violence, including potential sexualized torture, cruel, inhuman, degrading treatment may have occurred. So this is awful, obviously, and there's no way you could read this and think that rapes didn't happen.
Right. Someone in my chat says he also said he didn't believe that happened, but it was inevitable to happen.
So I'll tell you the inevitable clip. That was there was a video. The reason why I said that one was inevitable is because that was a video. There was a video where they took I think it was a German Israeli girl,
right?
And they grabbed her and they threw her in the back of a truck. And there was a video of all this happening. This you obviously can't show on stream.
Oh, I will
so there was she was thrown in the back of a truck and she was naked from the bottom down, and there was like blood pouring out between her legs, and they kind of paraded her around after they brought her back to Gaza and killed her.
Right. But so they didn't even. There just was no like prisoners or hostages, I should say.
Well, there were hostages. This person was not a hostage. This person was murdered.
This person was just like taken and killed, like for no reason.
Well, I mean, most of this is to define the reason. Whatever reason you want to give for the rest of it is the reason you gave for this.
Well, I'm saying like specifically the use that you said that she was like in a truck, right? So like, what's the difference between like putting this person in?
I think they took her to be a hostage, but she ended up dying.
Okay, that's what that was what I was getting at, right? Because it's like, okay, many people just died on the spot, gun, shoot it, dead. Okay.
Oh yeah, that was the majority. They killed 12.
Exactly. So my point is like, why was she not a hostage if they brought her into like a truck?
Well, a lot of the hostages ended up killed in Gaza once they were already taken.
Gotcha. Okay.
Like,
makes
for
sense.
example, there was a family called the Bibas family, where the whole family was taken hostages. The mother, the father, and the two children. The two children were ages 1 and 3.
Gotcha.
And they released the father. They did a prisoner swap with the father. They told the father that the rest of them were alive, but it turns out they were not. They murdered the mother and the two babies in captivity. And they did a coffin dance, parading their corpses out and partying over the corpses of these people. And Hassan, essentially, on that stream where he reacted to that, he was like laughing and cheering along with the Hamas terrorists as they paraded around those coffins.
When was this?
A couple months ago.
Gotcha.
I could show it to you. I made a video.
Yeah. Show the clip. I want to see this.
But anyway, I'll show you the inevitable clip while I'm looking for this one.
Yeah,
This is the inevitable
show
clip
everything.
about the girl that was. This is about the girl that was murdered, thrown in the back of the truck, and like blood pouring out between her legs, and that.
You're not seeing the entire picture. Were there brutal, unjustifiable acts of violence that civilians had to endure? Absolutely. Absolutely. I've seen the fucking videos. I know. I saw the girl with the dreads in the back of the pickup truck. That shit is completely unacceptable. That might not represent the interests of the Palestinians, but that is violent retribution that was an inevitability.
They said it doesn't represent the interests, but I guess if it's not a democracy, it doesn't really matter.
Well,
but
when he says it doesn't represent the interests, he's arguing, it doesn't represent the interests of the Palestinians that people are getting raped. Raping women.
Do you think it does? I don't think it. I mean, I don't think it does.
No, of course not. Obviously not.
Okay, continue.
Violence is unstoppable in that situation. If all you know is violence, if all you have withstood is violence, if every single moment of your life is violent, some fucking douchebags are going to behave in that regard. Whereas during a military operation, you're not seeing the entire picture.
Yeah, so he's saying because
he didn't really say it was inevitable, though. To be fair,
he did. He literally said it.
Were there brutal,
Yeah, I'll show it one more time.
Justifiable acts of violence that civilians had to endure? Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. I've seen the fucking videos. I know. I saw the girl with the dreads in the back.
Right. So this is him saying he saw the girl with the dreads.
Right. The video that you talked about. Yeah.
Back of the pickup truck. That shit is completely unacceptable. Okay. That might not represent the interests of the Palestinians, but that is violent retribution that was an inevitability.
Right. So he's saying so him saying that this girl getting raped and paraded around in Gaza was
Right.
Yeah, so
okay, interesting. Rape is not the main goal of it. It's more so a land mass, and what they can control in those actions considered immoral by the opposing party. Yes. Okay, I'm not really sure what you mean, to be honest with you. Continue.
Yeah. So anyway, this is these are the Hamas terrorists parading around the coffins of the babies that they murdered with their bare hands, actually. And another Hassan lie, by the way, is Hassan says that, no, I don't believe that Hamas killed them. It was probably like an Israeli missile strike that killed them, but it was not. It was Hamas that killed them because the United Health Organization actually
I
did autopsies on the body, and the bodies were beaten to death.
The first lie about this conflict that I remember him telling was it was something along the lines of there was a hospital that a hospital that had been blown up, and then he was basically saying you can say it. Yeah, that's fine.
There was a hospital that was well, I wouldn't say blown up. They said it was blown up. It turns out that the explosion mostly took place in the parking lot, but there was a hospital that was quote unquote blown up, and Hassan immediately goes on stream. Israel's doing war crimes. They're attacking hospitals, and then it turned out later that it wasn't Israel that attacked that hospital. It was Hamas. They actually their rocket, I think, misfired and blew up their own hospital, and they blamed Israel. And Hassan believed it, and every single independent organization that looked into it was like, no, we saw the rocket, we saw how it happened. It was definitely Hamas that did it, and Hassan to this day has not corrected the record and still claims that Israel blew up the hospital.
Are you serious? He just hasn't corrected the record?
Not that I know of. Maybe he did it and I missed it, but I'm pretty sure he did.
Crazy. Yeah, because I remember I'm pretty sure Willie Mack Show covered this in one of his Hassan videos, and that's how I found that out. So I would have I'm shocked that he hasn't. Okay, continue.
As far as I'm aware, he didn't. But you'll have to recognize something else that Hassan likes doing when he likes talking about war crimes. Okay, I'll show you this one after. In the meantime, this is what I was talking about before with them doing a coffin dance with the babies that they murdered.
This morning near Khan Yunis, a most macabre handover ceremony. Hamas fighters carry the coffins of 4 dead Israeli hostages. 2 of them children. On stage, an offensive propaganda message blaming Prime
Offensive propaganda message.
Why are you laughing? Why would you laugh?
Yeah. So anyway, like doing this whole weird laughing, supporting terrorists. I could show you.
I mean,
Whatever. You got the idea.
wait, just go back. No, I actually don't. Go back and play the clip because, like, I'm not gonna like people laugh at inappropriate
Carry the
shit.
coffin.
You know, like
That's
just
true.
play, just
That's
play, just
true.
play, just play.
Coffins of 4 dead Israeli hostages.
I want to see what he says
2
after.
of
That
them
matters more to me.
children.
I'm not gonna just
On
like
stage,
scold him for a
an
chuckle.
offensive propaganda message
Fair enough.
blaming Prime
Offensive propaganda message.
Why are you laughing? Why would you laugh?
Whatever. This clip doesn't have.
Is it just
more than,
Ethan?
like,
I mean, I guess if he
But,
defends
yeah,
it,
I
if he
can tell
defends
you,
it,
I can tell you what he says. I can tell you what he says
Sure,
after
sure,
that.
sure.
He says after that, offensive propaganda message. Literally, this is Israel. They can't even say propaganda. They can't even say propaganda when they're being killed. Like that's like the rest of his argument, essentially.
I don't understand.
So over here behind, so you see, here's the terrorist. Here's the coffins, the people they murdered.
Gotcha.
Behind them, they have a picture of the Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu, like photoshopped to look like a vampire,
Uh-huh.
and the war criminal Netanyahu and his Nazi army killed them with missiles from Zionist warplanes. Talking
Uh-huh.
about how they're claiming that Netanyahu and Israel killed these hostages, which is not true. They killed them themselves. So he laughs and he's like, offensive propaganda message? What do you mean? They're at war. They're allowed to propaganda. And
Okay.
They claim that their enemy murdered their own people when
Gotcha.
in actuality they
Okay.
kidnapped and murdered
Yeah,
them
so
themselves.
he's just defending misinformation. Okay, interesting. Yeah, I kind of see that. I mean, I think the laughing part is like, I mean, I don't know what you said about it, but I mean, like, ultimately, like, I'm going to laugh at some fucked up shit. Like, if I laugh at like the Shiloh Hendricks clip where she calls the kid the N-word, it's like, well, I don't support her saying the N-word. I just think that it's like so fucking like, it's like, you know, people laugh in awkward situations to diffuse the awkwardness or just because they feel uncomfortable. I don't know if you said that, you know, he's laughing because I mean, when Ethan grandstands over laughing, I'm not gonna like, you know, I think that's silly, but
I think that's valid. I think that's valid for sure. But I would argue.
But no, I mean,
that,
ultimately, like what you just said is true. Like,
laughing over-
if he's
laughing
defending
over someone
misinformation,
saying
it's stupid.
Laughing over someone saying the N-word and laughing at the misinformation and defending the misinformation of people that murdered and are parading in the streets with blasting music with the coffins of babies. I think that's a slightly different.
Obviously,
situation.
yeah. I mean, to be fair, I think, I mean, I don't want to get too autistic with this. I mean, it's not even worth. I'll make this very quick. I also think there is a difference between like laughing and then like a chuckle in between like the sentence, and I think it's a chuckle, and I think Ethan's like he's laughing.
fine.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think the clip of Hassan.
It's not the laughing. It's not the laughing as much as the
defense. Yeah, I think the defense is worse. Yeah, I agree.
It's the wholesome coverage of the coffin names.
100%. Yeah, totally. Like I think
he watched this and he didn't once say like, "Wow, that's really fucked up that they murdered these people." And these, like, you can't see them. These little white things over here on the coffins. These are pictures of the people that were supposedly in the coffins.
Right.
I say supposedly because they returned one of the wrong bodies. When this happened.
Jesus,
anyway, whatever.
It's fucked up. Jesus. Okay.
They are pretty fucked up.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, honestly, I think the defense is worse. Also, yeah, I don't know why Twitter's doing this now. I thought that was a bug on my screen. It's like the video's different now. But anyway, yeah, I think the defense of this is like worse because it's like, you know, whether you laugh or whether you defend, it's like you can have like an awkward laughter and say this is just like unacceptable, and then I think that's actually, you know, it goes way further than you know, the no laugh plus defense, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I don't think the laughing is the problem.
Yeah, 100%, 100%.
I think
Yeah.
the problem is more defending the terrorists that are murdering children.
Okay,
kind of thing.
Right, and so going on from that, right? What else has he said about the war that's just
what
wrong?
What I was gonna say, in regards to the hospital thing. So his argument very often is that why is Israel bombing hospitals and stuff like that? And Hamas, the terrorists, they put their rocket launchers in hospitals and in playgrounds to shoot at Israel. So when Israel attacks the rocket launcher, which is placed in a hospital, they are also attacking a hospital. Hamas uses human shields, and like completely verified that they use human shields. And by every different society on the planet, the UN discovered this as well. So when you say that Israel attacked the hospital and it's a war crime, and it turns out it wasn't even Israel that attacked that hospital, it was Gaza that blew up their own hospital, and they actually do put their rocket launchers in hospitals, it is wild misinformation to just say, look at what's going on here.
Do you think that two things can be true at once, where it's like
I'm not here defending everything Israel has ever done.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I want to. Israel definitely made some pretty awful decisions in regards to what they've done, for sure.
Okay. Okay.
But it's
Because
being miscategorized in every single instance.
Okay. That's kind of what I was trying to get at, is because, I mean, from what I understand and the content that I've seen around the war, I mean, it does seem like there has been decisions made by the Israeli government and the Israeli military that have been like extremely fucked up. And I'm not saying that it's like, I mean, look, like it's a fucking war, right? So obviously there's going to be, I mean, international law is kind of fake. So if you violate it during a war, it's like, you know, well, you did that. It's a war crime. It's like, well, war itself is you know, it's like, I don't know. And so, you know, when Israel does things that people think are like you know, inexcusable and stuff like that, I would say, like, you know, isn't this all inexcusable? Like, isn't, like, Israel is doing inexcusable shit, Palestine is doing inexcusable shit. I mean, it's a fucking war. I don't know. Maybe that's just like a enlightened centrist, like, damn, like, you know, but this is worse sort of thing.
I mean, I would argue it's a little bit of an enlightened centrist moment, but
yeah, no, go for
whatever.
it.
I don't.
No, I mean, please critique me, because I don't. I mean, I'm not like a political.
Like, I think
don't
Israel definitely. I think Israel definitely did some not valid things, for sure. Absolutely, I think they overdid it in specific instances. For real.
Well, 100%. Yeah.
Like, for example, this is a terrorist tunnel. Like, there are 300 miles of terrorist tunnels in Gaza. 300 miles. And the reason I mention this is because they don't open the bomb shelters and tunnels to civilians in Gaza. They don't do that because they want. Okay, again, they're terrorists. The Hamas terrorists want civilian casualties so that on the world stage, they could say, look how bad Israel is. It's like, you have to realize they want the civilian casualties. And that's fucked up. Like, so this is the terrorist tunnel that they don't let civilians in.
We are here in Beit Lahia in Gaza, 699 Battalion. We see here a fighting tunnel of Hamas, 15 meters deep, right outside a school.
Right? So, like, if you're going to have these tunnels over here that the terrorists use to store ammunition and capture hostages and move and operate, and they put them on purpose right next to schools and right next to hospitals. So it's a really, like, it's a terrible war. It's a terrible war.
Right.
Like, here's another one.
What do you think about like people that are saying like Israel's doing genocide? Because I see that like all the time. Like, that's what Hassan says, Noah Samson says, and it's like, what do you think about that?
So obviously the debate is very contested. Do you know the definition of genocide?
I think the definition is
genocide is kind of used for everything right now.
Yeah. Like I think genocide is like
it became one of those buzzwords, like
to erase
Trump got elected. It's a transgender genocide.
Yeah. It's like to erase a certain people, right?
Yeah. So
do you think? I think that they kind of are, though. Aren't they just trying to like erase Palestinians?
Well, not in Gaza. They would have bombed Gaza a lot more. I mean, Gaza has 2.1 million people before the war, and they still have 2.1 million people right now.
Right.
In Gaza.
I mean, we were technically trying to like genocide the Japanese during World War II. Right?
Absolutely not. What are you talking about?
You don't think so?
What are you? No, for sure not. Definitely not. They tried to end the war. Some people would argue that dropping 2 nuclear bombs on Japan was incredibly excessive, for sure. But it wasn't a genocide.
That's kind of where I'm going with that, right?
They weren't trying to kill every Japanese person.
Okay.
No, definitely not.
I mean, I don't know.
You could argue that it was definitely excessive.
That's kind of where I'm going with it. Is it's like, I don't know if you drop 2 nuclear bombs on a group of people and don't want them. I guess it wasn't a strategic attempt to erase the Japanese people, so it probably wasn't a genocide.
But the intent is required for genocide.
Right. No, that's a good point. That's a good point.
Intent. So Hitler against the Jews. That was a genocide.
And listen, bro, I'm not arguing from this specific point. I'm not going to argue from any point of like.
In fact, Hamas terrorists.
Well, hold on. People are going to eat me alive in the comments. People are going to eat me alive in the comments for this. So I just want to make it clear. Like, I'm not like this is all like. I'm like workshopping this in my brain as we speak. Okay, I'm not saying with the war stuff. I am here learning from someone who has done way more research than me. Okay, so before people want to like call me names in the comments, I'm learning. I'm making. If I say isn't that like blank and you don't like the simile there, it's like because I'm working out of my brain. Okay, continue. I have to save face a little bit.
Fair. Yeah. So genocide is the intent to wipe out an entire people, and if the intent is not there, it's not a genocide. Okay. In fact, if the intent is there and you're not successful, it's still a genocidal fight. For example, The Hamas terrorists that say they want to kill all Jews, they say they want to kill all Jews. They say this in their charter, by the way. Their charter is, let there be no tree that doesn't scream, there is a Jew behind this tree. Come kill the Jew behind this tree. Now, that is their charter. They want to kill all Jews. That's what they say they want to do. They are genocidal. So Hassan supporting Hamas makes him pro-genocide. Because they are genocidal. The terrorists are genocidal. Whatever you want to say. I know that it's a currently contested debate. I'm no geopolitical historian, but I think if you're being realistic about it, I don't think there's a genocide in Gaza.
Okay.
But obviously, I am biased, and because I had a family member that was murdered October 7th by Hamas.
Are you serious?
So
Jesus Christ.
So I'm obviously biased. However, and I recognize
I mean that's like valid as fuck. Like, Jesus Christ, I'm actually really sorry. I didn't know that. I'm so sorry.
Yeah. It is indeed very shitty for sure. And I'm recognizing that I am biased. But I'm also being realistic for a second and saying, if you look at the population of Gaza in 2022, there were 2.1 million people. If you look at the population in Gaza right now, there's 2.1 million people. That's not a genocide. You got to realize Israel has nuclear weapons. Israel could wipe out Gaza in one day. Obviously, they're not doing that.
I mean, like, if they did that, like, that would be like a world war. The moment you use nuclear weapons, yes. The moment that I'm sure of. That I'm no. Hold on. Stop.
Maybe not nuclear weapons.
Hold on. Let me say this. The moment you invite nuclear war, that's when the whole world gets involved.
Yeah, that's generally when there are two different countries that both have nuclear. This is like, again, I'm not. Israel's Air Force could wipe out Gaza in a day, essentially.
Well,
with the amount of like
munitions
and weapons that they
have.
Okay. Forget nukes.
Okay. Sure, continue.
But they could. They absolutely could. Now, obviously, I hope that they don't do that. That would be awful. But isn't that like a bad argument, because that's saying like we could kind of erase any country we want, right? And like that's just saying like, well, because we're doing it over the span of like however long and we're not blowing them up immediately, then we're not doing a genocide. Like that's a bad argument. Well, is anyone accusing America of doing genocide because America could blow?
No, but you're saying that, like, if there wanted to be a genocide, we could have already done it.
Well, Israel is being accused of doing a genocide, right? And the argument is that genocide is wiping out an entire people.
Yeah.
Right? Israel has the power to wipe out the entire people and is not doing that. In fact, if you look at the militant
but that's what I'm saying.
If you look at the militant to civilian casualty chart, it's on par with any American attack anywhere in the Middle East over the last 20 years.
Okay, well, that's apples to oranges.
No, it's not, because it's not going out there specifically targeting civilians. Like, I don't know if you know this, but Israel has a thing where they drop leaflets on buildings saying that we will be bombing this building in an hour. We found out that there is terrorist infrastructure in this building. We will be bombing this building in the hour. Get away.
What is a leaflet?
Leaflet, like little papers. Like they'll fly over it. They'll drop like a ton of little papers over a building.
Okay.
The papers will be saying, we will be bombing this building. Get out of there. People will flee the building and then they'll blow up the building.
Okay.
Like that's not genocidal.
I mean, okay. Yeah. Continue. I
like
guess
they'll warn them.
that
they
part
do door knockings.
That makes sense. I guess just like what you're saying is that just because they have the capacity to erase this country with nuclear weapons and they haven't, then therefore they're not genocidal. I don't like that argument. I'm not saying they are. I'm saying that argument is bad. Would you agree?
I personally don't agree, because I think genocide is an incredibly harsh claim. Like Hitler did anything in his power to kill Jews. Like that dude was a Jew killing machine. All right, bro got 6 million people. Like, you don't realize there are less Jews in the world right now than there were in 1938.
How is that possible?
Because there were 16 million Jews in 1938. 6 million were killed, and right now there are 15 million Jews.
There's 16 million, now there's 15 million. Is that true?
Look it up. Or maybe there were more. Maybe there were more than 16 million before, but yeah.
There's 15.8 million Jewish people in the world.
Yeah, and there were over 16 million in 1938. So the Jews have still not fully recovered and may never recover. But that's not the point. The point I'm trying to make is that's genocidal.
Wait, hold on. Sorry. I just asked ChatGPT. I'm going to keep it a buck with you. It says there are more Jews now than in 1938. Estimates about 16. In 1938, there was about 16.6 million Jews worldwide. In 2024, there was 15.7 million Jews worldwide. Still fewer than pre. Yeah, I know, but it's not.
What I said.
I know. It's not done. It says still fewer than pre-Holocaust numbers, but steadily recovering. However, if you meant currently in 2025, then the number has likely surpassed or is about to surpass pre-Holocaust numbers. So I guess you're close enough. I guess you're close enough, but
you got the point. The point that I was trying to make is. The Nazis
Why are you
tried to
asking
do a
ChatGPT?
genocide.
Who else am I supposed to act? The fucking like
Nah, Base,
the
Base,
U.S.
don't let them get to you. Don't let them get to you,
U.S.
bro.
Census? Like, I'm confused.
Don't let them get to you. It's based. ChatGPT's based.
It
does the
It was
research for you.
quick. It was quick.
It's quick.
All right. Sorry. Okay. Continue. Anyways,
Yeah,
we're
so
talking about
anyway-
genocide. We're talking about genocide, right? Yeah.
Yeah, so
I
genocide
think
is
that
the
argument's
intent-
bad. I think that argument's bad.
That's fine. I think genocide is the intent. Well, the definition of genocide is the intent to wipe out by the fact that you see Israel is doing everything in their power to not wipe out an entire people. I would argue that that means that they are not doing a genocide.
Right. Well, I think what you're saying is their intent is not that, because if it was, they would have done it already. That's like saying, oh, I'm not bullying that kid because if I really wanted to bully him, I would have beat him up already. It's like, it doesn't really make sense. The intent makes it the crime. Oh,
True. That is genocide. Genocide.
Yeah.
means
We did talk about that. Yeah. Well, I don't know. I guess I mean.
And by the fact that
how do we?
they
I guess how do we just how do we know the
they drop
intent?
leaflets. You're right. You can never know intent. Intent is proven by actions, and the actions are A, not leveling the entire Gaza, B, dropping leaflets and pamphlets and knocking on doors, telling them in advance before they bomb their buildings. C, basically, essentially, you may not know this, Israel is supplying Gaza right now with humanitarian aid. Like, if it was a genocide, would Israel be powering their electricity and sending in food and water?
That does not. I don't. Is that true?
Like,
that doesn't even seem true. I'm sorry. That sounds insane.
Look
That
it
sounds insane.
Look it up.
What am I looking up? What am I looking up?
Type it
What am I?
into
Sorry.
ChatGPT. Is Israel
okay.
providing Gaza with their electricity, food, and water?
Okay. Is Israel providing Gaza with electricity, food, and water?
And ChatGPT is probably going to give you like this whole long answer.
I'll just read it. I mean,
go for it.
I'm just trying to be fair, right? I don't want to just like sit here and like take everything you say as fact. Obviously, you're a friend and I respect what you have to say, but for the sake of okay. Israel.
I'm biased.
Ooh, I got bad news for you, bro.
Go for it.
As of May 2025, Israel is not consistently providing electricity, food, and water to Gaza.
Did you hear the word consistently?
That is true.
What does consistently mean?
Okay. All right. Hey, I know what the word consistently means. Am I consistently uploading videos? I am. But if I wasn't, then I'd still be a YouTuber. Okay, let's see what this says. Israel has cut off electricity supplies to Gaza since October 2023. Water, the block...
they're at war. You have to realize there's a war also. Right?
Well, yeah,
so
but
they're
I mean...
supplying them during a war.
Right.
During a war, they are still supplying them and cutting it off strategically for different operations.
Okay, so... Well, I'm just going to read the rest of it. It says, the blockade has also disrupted water supplies. The shutdown of desalination products, I guess that's just like water-related stuff, due to power has led to critical shortage of portable water. Doctors Without Borders reported that water is being used as a weapon of war in Gaza, exacerbating the humanitarian crisis. So, low-key, bro, they're not supplying electricity or water and food. So...
Low key, the idea the idea of supplying food and water to the enemy in a war is a little bit wild. And
yeah, but you said that they were doing that. That's why I said I don't believe you.
They were.
Wait, when? During the war?
Yes, it said since October 2024. Did it say on your ChatGPT?
No, it's saying since October 2023. They were doing it.
Yes.
Okay,
At
I got you.
At one point after
in March 2025 they stopped giving power.
Okay. All right. So in March 2025, which by the way is already about how many months into the war? A year and a half into the war. That's when they started strategically turning off power and stuff like that.
Right.
And also, you should recognize Hamas turned water pipes into missiles. They dug up water pipes and infrastructure in Gaza to use those water pipes as missiles and rockets to shoot them into Israel. They also essentially harbored most of the humanitarian aid that came into Gaza was used by Hamas. Hamas took them over. They didn't give out a lot to a lot of people. In fact, if you look at the leaders of Hamas, they're billionaires.
Right. Well, I mean, so is Nancy Pelosi. Okay. Interesting. I mean, I understand why
Nancy Pelosi's worth $200 million. Actually.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, I
leaders are richer.
Yeah. I was confused why you were saying like, yeah, of course they cut off water and electricity to their enemies. I'm like, well, Yeah, I mean, I thought you were arguing that they didn't do that, but it looks like what you're
No, but
saying is they
I'm
did for a
arguing that they
while.
were-
They gave it to them for a while, and then it got worse, so then they stopped, right?
Yeah, but why would if they're doing
No,
a
no, no.
genocide?
Yeah. I'm saying like it's like what, like
I'm
obviously
not-
things
again,
have
I
gotten
want you to
worse. I mean,
realize-
March is very recently.
I-
Things have gotten worse,
It is.
obviously. So
I
yeah.
am not. I'm not saying that this is justified of Israel to do. I'm saying that this proves it's not a genocide.
That they had
there's a
provided them with
difference
those
there.
resources.
They're giving food and electricity supposedly to people that genocide.
Yeah. No, that's. I mean I see what you're saying. Yeah. And then they only recently yanked it. Okay, that makes sense. All right. Sorry, we got very sidetracked, but I think this is educational. Like, I'm learning about this conflict, and like, obviously, I prefer to hear it from somebody who I know rather than like, a mainstream news outlet or whatever. My news is okay. If it's not Asmongold, I don't trust it. Okay.
True.
But anyway, so continue with okay. So Hassan is lying about which of the following things that you've just informed me about, right?
The genocide part, I guess, but that one's contested.
Well, I guess
so I don't
it's
even blame him for
subjective,
that one.
right? I mean, I guess I think it's more about how you define genocide, and right, and like how you relate that to what's happening, right?
Yeah, no, that one's contested. So I don't fault him for that one. Absolutely not.
Okay.
There are arguments to be made on all sides, even though I
Right.
personally one side is more accurate than the other side.
Sure. I think I also do think it's like the way in which he uses it to like deflect all criticism is so fucking babyish.
True. It's how can you criticize me when there's a genocide?
Yeah,
happening?
literally. It's like, how am I the problem when Israel's the problem? It's like, bruh. It's like, okay, bro.
Yeah. And again, if you really wanted to look at the problem, this war started because Hamas are terrorists.
Right. Well, okay, yeah, October 7th, sure. That's what was the escalation. I mean, people were saying this has been happening for a while, though, to be honest. Right.
So do you want to go
Actually,
back
you know
20 years
what?
of history?
You know what? Let's fucking do it, because I keep hearing about
God.
October
I don't
7th, right? Or don't go. Just explain to me why October 7th happened, right? Obviously, you can't explain why a group of people would, rape and kill a group of people. Like, that's irrational. That's primal. However, obviously, as a group, there was something that caused that, I would assume, right? So what was the thing that caused it? Just make it quick if you can. I don't know.
You can't make the history of Israel Palestine quick.
Okay, sure.
I don't
I mean,
know
if you don't want to get into it, we don't have to be honest.
All right. So you ever read the Bible?
I actually have not. I know a lot of Bible passages, but I've not read the Bible fully.
All right. So there was this guy by the name of King.
I've read
David.
parts of it. I know
He was
King
the
David,
king
obviously.
of Israel. All right. So in Jerusalem right now, there still is the city of David from like 3,000 years ago. It's pretty old. So at some point, eventually, the Romans drove the Jews out of Israel. A lot of them. There were still Jews in Israel, but they drove the Jews out of Israel.
Okay, everyone's zoning out. Just like, what caused October 7th?
But that's the point I'm trying to make.
There's
It's
no
such
way. There's just no way. There's actually no way.
There's no way I could just say what caused it.
Okay, but just real quick. There wasn't like a thing like IDF was like, or Israel did some shit, then they did this. You're thinking it's all this history you're saying?
No, it's because Israel became a country. They didn't want Israel to become a country. It's ever since Israel became a country that they were
Which
attacking
was like in
it,
like
because they-
1960 something.
So in 1948, the British mandate made Israel a country. Because before that, it was under the British mandate. So the British decided to make Israel a country.
Okay.
At that point, there were still majority Arabs in Israel. And then after 1948, a lot more Jews entered Israel to make Jews actually become a much stronger minority in the country. So at that point, there was the Arabs in the area attacked, and the Jews won. So they actually ended up getting a country at that point. And so in 1967, there was another war where surrounding countries attacked, and Israel won another war, which pushed their borders out a little bit longer, a little bit bigger. And that is current Israel as we have it today from 1967.
Okay, yeah. So their borders haven't changed since then.
The borders have been changed since then. And
They have.
as it stands, they have. A ton of the people that lived in that region before that time, in the Palestine region, were displaced. Like 600,000 people or something were displaced from their homes over the course of these wars. So anyway, since then, they are all saying, Israel, from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. The river is the Jordan River. The sea is the Red Sea. They want to wipe out all the Jews in Israel, and they want to take back the land. So essentially, October 7th is just it was a gigantic terrorist attack that was done by people
Yeah.
that wanted to kill all the Jews in Israel and take the land back.
Do you think that, like, when they say from the river to the sea, that they could be talking about the borders that have moved?
Nope.
No?
The full phrase is from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. Any Jew hiding behind any tree. It's the thing I told you before.
Oh,
any
okay.
Jew hiding
I didn't know
behind
that.
any tree, the tree will say, there is a Jew behind me. Come kill the Jew.
Gotcha,
Right, that's all.
gotcha. Okay, gotcha. Okay, Jesus, this is like the Vladimir Putin Tucker Carlson where he just gives like the in 1451. Okay, this is so much. Fuck. Okay.
Yeah.
you're Vladimir Putin. How does it feel? Okay. Okay.
Pretty
So
great.
then what else has Hassan lied about in this conflict? Because you've got to have more ammo, yeah.
Well, dude, so much, and I don't think I'll have time for. Well, so first of all, remember Hassan says that Gaza before October 7th. That's a phrase.
You cut out.
he
You
uses
cut.
a
Wait,
lot.
you cut out. What did you say? Gaza before October
Hassan
7th.
says that Gaza before October 7th was a concentration camp, so they had to. That's like a big argument.
Dude, you cut it again. What the fuck? You said Gaza was a concentration camp. What did you say? You were like cutting out.
Hassan says that the reason why the October 7th attack was justified is because before October 7th, Gaza was a giant concentration camp
Okay, for Jews.
for,
For Palestinians.
non-Jews,
Okay,
for
gotcha.
Palestinians. So this was Gaza before October 7th. Like, this does not look like a concentration camp.
Right. It looks pretty chill, actually.
He wildly misrepresents the conditions there to justify the terrorist attack that took place.
Mm-hmm.
That's another thing that he does all the time. Anyway, another one that I personally think is
When did he wait?
pretty
Sorry, real
funny.
quick. When did he say that? Because that's crazy. How could you? Because if that video is right there and it's obvious that Gaza is not a concentration camp, then how does he get away with lying like that?
I don't know. He does. He says it all the time. He literally says it all the time.
Okay. And people believe him. Why do they believe him?
Because it's the project. It's the process. I think you don't understand something. People
I
aren't
probably
watching
don't.
Hassan. People aren't watching Hassan to broaden their political perspectives. People are watching Hassan to essentially propagate the same propaganda that they want to push.
Okay, gotcha.
Anyway, here's I'll show you this one. I have to show you this one, and then I'm gonna go.
Yeah, sounds good. Sorry to keep you here for so long, but yeah, it's actually interesting to me. I'm trying to learn.
Yeah,
I mean, I honestly am.
Yeah, so this is my favorite one. Check this out. So this is titled "Another Journalist Killed by Israel." As you know, killing journalists is a war crime.
Yeah.
So
Israel killed 2 journalists yesterday. One of them is someone who I frequently talk to get updates. He was a contributor to Al Jazeera. I've talked about him before. His name is Hussam Shabat. He was 23 years old. Israel had put him on a leaflet claiming that he was a terrorist alongside 5 other journalists a couple months prior, which was a death sentence. And I reached out to him at the time when
So anyway, this is an entire 10-minute eulogy of it saying that this poor Hussam Shabat journalist was killed. It's a war crime in Israel, blah, blah, blah.
Right. Well, that
Whole
sounds
eulogy.
sad. Well, what happened?
Incredibly sad. It really is incredibly sad. A war crime, right? He got this from Al Jazeera, a Qatar propaganda outlet. But anyway, so this is Hussam Shabat, the guy in the press suit right here. But if you look at the list of fighters, this is Hussam Shabat, a sniper for Hamas, and this was defined by Hamas. Hamas claims that he is a sniper for Hamas.
Oh my fucking god!
Yeah, so that was a big one when I saw that.
No fucking way. So he's saying that his buddy who was a journalist was a fucking terrorist sniper?
Yeah, so he.
Oh
he
my, bro,
I
what?
thought this one was wild. I love this one.
Why did we ever go why did we start to go, bro, why did we spend so much time on the history when you had this in the back pocket the whole time? Hassan's buddy was a fucking sniper.
Happens.
What do you mean it happens? This is what everyone wanted. I'm sitting here like scratching my head thinking about the fucking history, and you have a literal brochure with this. Bro, come on. That's insane.
This is why you should watch the How Fucked Is Hassan Piker Friends Nuxanor channel.
Okay,
But anyway,
wow.
in case you wanted more proof that this
Please!
sniper was a bad guy. All right, so this is that Hussam Shabat guy. If you look at this, you will notice something.
Well, hold
This
on.
is Hassan Shabat.
I mean, we'll pause real quick. I mean, look, whether or not he had to do this to fight in the war, forget that. I'm more like Hassan said this guy's a journalist.
A journalist friend of his, and Israel's committing war crimes. That's
what I'm saying. That's the point, guys. Is like Hassan said that the fucking sniper is a journalist. That's what I like. You can have an argument about the ethics of him being a sniper in a war period. Okay, forget that. This Hassan guy is lying.
My guy, my boy. It gets worse.
It does get worse. All right,
Okay.
let's get into it.
So this is that guy, right? The guy in the press suit. This is Hassam Shabbat.
Yeah.
Notice the date.
Oh my God!
So he posted this.
Oh
Entering
my
into Israel
God.
on October 7th. So
Dude.
this guy, Hassam
Holy
Shabbat,
shit!
is part of the terrorists that started the war.
Dude, this
he
guy needs to
entered
get
Israel-
fucking bro. I don't
He's
want.
dead.
Oh
So
my
the guy's
God.
dead. Israel killed him because he's a terrorist, and Hassan gives
Dude.
him an entire eulogy
Chat.
as his friend, the press guy, who I can't believe my good friend, the press guy, was killed by Israel.
Bro,
it's such
chat.
a war crime.
Chat, 1 in chat if you knew this, 2 in chat if you're just finding this out. This is fucking insane. Thank you for the $10. Oh my God. The Hassan is 100% serious will blow your mind if this is your reaction to this. Well, bro, they're 50 minutes each. I low-key have shit to do. But I
True,
mean,
they're
like,
long.
but
you see now why they're long.
well, yeah, I mean, holy shit, people knew this. Some people, it looks like 50-50, so a lot of people didn't know this.
Well, anyone who says one watched my videos because no one else covered it.
That's insane. Bro did his research. Okay, continue. Jesus, yeah, well...
Yeah, so no, that's it. This Hassam Shabbat guy's a terrorist. Yeah.
Well, especially if he was part of the October 7th attacks, then he is, like, literally fucking...
Yeah, he is part of the October 7th attack.
That's crazy, bro.
Apparently, or at least he videoed them going in. But anyway.
What else was there?
Yeah, well, that's what I got for this one.
Well, what else did he say? Wait, but you played 9 seconds of it. We'll play more of it, though.
Well,
because...
Oh, yeah, we watched this whole video.
Got him before. His name is Hassam Shabbat. He was 23 years old. Israel had put him on a leaflet claiming that he...
Sorry, someone in chat said, Israel accused him of being Hamas with no verifiable proof. Just because he took photos doesn't mean he's a terrorist. What do you think about that?
Yes, I don't know. He took photos of the October 7th attack. He took photos of people entering into the country before they entered the country, right?
Could you go back to that thing that showed that he's a sniper? What is this exactly? Who is this? Because is this like whose file?
This is a list of operatives in Company 1 of the Beit Hanun Battalion.
Who made this basically?
So I assume Israel put this together. But Israel got these charts, I'm pretty sure, from what they actually found from Hamas, because there were a lot of Hamas.
Right, because he died, and they figured him out, right?
No, this was long before he died.
Wait,
this
what?
was they mentioned before he died. Like Hassan actually says this. Listen.
He was a terrorist alongside 5 other journalists.
Right. So the IDF claims uncovered documents prove 6 Al Jazeera journalists are terrorists, and that includes the Hassam Shabbat guy.
Okay. Interesting. What Hassan?
A couple months prior, which was...
Sorry, someone in my chat saying what Hassan is saying is true, and it's what his Wikipedia says too. What does Wikipedia say? Sorry, I'm just trying to, like look at everything. But continue. I want to hear how he's. Well, because
I mean, death sentence. And I reached out to him at the time when I saw that, and he did not seem discouraged. He was steadfast, and till the very last breath, he was trying to put the word out about what was happening to his people, what was happening to the Palestinians. Dylan Saba had a really good statement on this, and I want to read it. He said, Hassam was 23 years old. At age 7, he saw Israel's ground invasion of Gaza that killed 1,400 Palestinians. At age 10, a major air assault. At age 11, another ground invasion that killed 2,200. At age 19, another massive bombing campaign. And at age 22, the start of this Holocaust. He faced a genocide his entire life as the world conspired to forget and erase his existence and those of his people. We will never erase the moral stain of this horror. Israel is deliberately targeting the last couple of journalists that are basically alive in Gaza at this point. One of his last messages that he ever posted was actually about his colleague that Israel had assassinated a couple moments prior, like an hour prior to his own assassination. These are real human beings. They have dreams. Hassam himself became a journalist.
I kind of get where the point is. But
it's a whole eulogy. That was the point.
Yeah. I guess like a lot of people in chat are saying that because like the screenshot you showed me is like from Israel, that it's kind of like mixed. They can't really verify it. And then someone was saying it's on Wikipedia that he's not a sniper. I forget the guy who said that, but I have to look into it. What do you think about that?
I'd love to see that. If you could show it to me, I'd love to see it. That would be cool.
Yeah. I don't know if you're still in chat, but the guy who said look at the Wikipedia. Can you show me the Wikipedia? I want to pull it up.
Apparently, he has a military ID number from 2019 training in Hamas battalions.
What's his name?
Hassam Shabbat.
Oh, Hassam Basel.
I would love to see though. I would
Yeah,
correct
yeah.
it for sure.
Oh, okay, yeah.
wrong.
I have the Wikipedia. Okay, so Hassam Shabbat was a Palestinian this one's saying journalist too. Who reported on the Gaza war as a
Well,
correspondent.
he was definitely a journalist. The question is if he was also a terrorist.
Right. Well, it's like saying Hitler was a painter, right? You know. Okay. Shabbat was killed by an Israeli airstrike after Israel ended the ceasefire in January 2025. Oh, I thought he died on October 7th. Okay, by resuming airstrikes in Gaza.
He was videoing the attack on October.
Okay.
He died
Shabbat,
later.
another Palestinian journalist, Mohammed Mansour, was also killed by the Israeli military. Witness. Okay. Where's the October 7th stuff? Let's check out the death. The IDF had previously threatened Hassam on the 23rd of October, 2024, and accused 6 journalists, including Hassam, of being members of Hamas. Hassam denied any involvement and also stated these were clear death threats that they served as an excuse to preemptively justify killing him. Interesting. On the following day, the IDF confirmed that they had deliberately targeted Shabbat, stating that during the war, Shabbat carried out attacks and participated in terrorist activities against the IDF. So this is just like a he said, she said, isn't it?
Yeah, except...
Oh, wait, the IDF provided no evidence to support the claim that Shabbat had attacked the IDF troops or Israeli citizens. So basically, like, is there proof that he is a terrorist or not? Like, the proof that you showed me is like, interesting that they classified him as a sniper. But, like, is it true, though, is kind of what I'm getting at.
I guess you don't know. I guess I don't know. In a war, you never know.
Okay, well...
But you do know that he was taking these images of them actually entering Israel on October 7th.
Right. I mean...
This was a surprise terrorist attack. You do know that even if maybe they didn't provide proof that he actually attacked specific people, you do know for a fact that he does have a military ID number from the Hamas battalion of 2019.
Right.
The only proof that, from what I understand, according to this Wikipedia article, they don't have is that he directly attacked troops or civilians. That they didn't provide.
Well, I feel like that's the most important part.
Well, if you're part of a terrorist organization and they get you, I think that that's valid, personally.
Well, I don't think so. Like, even if I'm part of, like, a terrorist group, like, whether or not I actually do terrorism matters, you know?
Well, maybe you didn't do terrorism yet. You're arguing that only terrorists that have already killed people should be targeted?
I think so.
In a war?
Well, I think that's what makes you a terrorist, is doing the terrorism. I don't know if necessarily being
part... is trying to do the terrorism.
Well, we don't know if he was trying to, do we? I guess what I'm trying to say...
videoing them going in on October 7th.
Well, I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, what I'm trying to understand is, like, I guess, like, how do we know that Hassan is, like, lying versus, like, the Israel's lying? Because, like, isn't this kind of a he said, she said?
I suppose it is a he said, she said. But I also suppose that Hassan giving the of my good friend the terrorist was killed as a war crime without giving context that the guy is probably a terrorist is kind of wild.
But I mean, why is he probably a terrorist? Like, you're asking
because
him.
I don't understand. This October 7th attack is one of the worst terrorist attacks ever, right?
Yeah.
So,
no, 100%. No, I'm not justifying. I think this is terrible. I'm just trying to understand if this specific person was part of it, right? Because you showed me the thing that said he was registered as a sniper. And I will say, the fact that he was profiled before as a sniper is kind of like, well, how did they catch him before as a sniper, right? I mean, because if he'd already been, I'm saying, exactly. I'm saying if he was in the database already, that's kind of sus, right? That's what I'm saying. But I also don't know if what you're showing me is like proof that he carried out terrorism on October 7th. Well, I'm just trying to I'm not trying to, like, argue with you. I'm just trying to, like...
No, please argue with me. I don't mind if you argue with me.
Well, I'm just trying to get to the bottom of it. I mean, like, is there anything else that shows that he did, like, terrorism?
I would suggest you watch my video then, because I made this video like 6 months ago.
Yeah, I'll definitely go watch it. Okay, can you link it to me?
Yeah, I'll try to find it.
Dope. Like, all I'm saying is, like, look, he definitely lied about a lot of stuff. Like, 100%. Like, you showed me stuff that he lied about. Like, the circumstantial evidence stuff, lied about that, you know? There's something earlier you also said, and then he completely lied about this. This one specifically, I'm just trying to make sure. I don't know if he lied. If you're saying it's a he said, she said, well, then I can't definitively say that he lied about it, you know? That's
fair, for sure.
Gotcha. All right, well.
I think it's... Oh, God, it's an hour long.
I'll watch it.
I think it's this one. I'll send it to People that value...
Yeah, link it to me. I'll watch it.
I'm pretty sure it's this one. I could be wrong. I titled the videos terribly, so not exactly super helpful, but I'm pretty sure it's this one.
Yeah, Hassan is 320% fucked now. Yeah, Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll watch this. Well, I mean, look, I know this was like totally random. I'm sorry for fucking dragging you here for so long. I'm genuinely trying to
problem.
look. I mean this when I say and this isn't bullshit. I'm not like pleading ignorance to like pretend that I don't know something to like whatever. I literally, and I mean this, like most of my life I spend either playing video games or live streaming like, you know, fucking content. So I actually I don't watch the news. I watch Asmongold, I watch you. I don't know specifically the ongoing conflict with Israel and Palestine. And so if I ask a lot of questions, maybe I ask too many questions. I'm not trying to bug you. You know, it's not your job to it's not your job to educate me. It's not your job to
The thing is, the problem is with criticizing Hassan and pointing out lies and stuff is very often I think a lot of people would just say, "Oh, I guess Nuck supports the entire attack in every single instance, every person that was killed," and that is obviously not true at all. But you know,
yeah. Well, I think
support
that's
killing the terrorists, I guess.
I mean, I think anyone who's making a generalization about your beliefs is probably just, you know, doing that. Like, I think that's bad faith. But
okay, so I just opened Twitter and typed in Hassan. Apparently this
What's
is
up?
Hassan
What?
Shabbat over here.
Oh shit. Okay, what is this?
So this is Hassan Shabbat.
On October 23rd, the IDF publicly warned that Hassam Shabbat wasn't just a journalist, he was a confirmed Hamas operative. Despite the exposure, this journalist still chose to move openly in the field. Here he is carrying another eliminated terrorist friend.
Right. So a journalist is not supposed to be doing this, right? Journalists are supposed to be like supposedly unbiased.
Wait, what is he doing here that's biased?
So this is a terrorist that he's carrying on his little.
Is he dead?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, whatever.
I mean, if it's I feel like if it's
suspiciously was very connected. I mean, well, it says friend. I don't think that's literal. I think that's just saying that both of them are terrorists.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know. I'm not gonna say I know.
Yeah, I don't know either. I mean, he might be a terrorist. I literally fucking don't know. Like from what you've showed me, it's interesting. From what he's saying or Hassan is saying, I mean, it seems like nobody knows, right? And so, fuck. Like I'm just sitting here. I don't know.
I suppose.
Like he might be a terrorist. I suppose. I mean, like maybe. I mean, I don't know if I mean, the thing that you said. I don't know. I don't know. This is a lot to take in.
This guy.
What is this? A forgotten picture of the
Hassam Shabbat.
Oh shit! What is this?
A man with absolutely no ties to Hamas at all.
An anti-Trump banner. Can you full screen that?
I mean, this is him wearing the
What does that
Hamas
say?
Scarf.
What? Yeah.
I don't know the translation, but it's the Hamas scarf.
And
again, it's not evidence he was a terrorist that he's a guy that's wearing terrorist gear. But like at that point, how could you ever prove anything unless they're actually already killed somebody?
Okay.
Yeah, but anywho, I do have to run.
Yeah, no problem. I know, bro. I mean, you stayed fucking way longer than you had to. I mean, I really appreciate, guys. Thank you. I mean, I'll link your channel in the chat, obviously, bro. Thank you so much for fucking joining me. Like, I really appreciate this. This is like really fucking important. I think a lot of people will learn. I think a lot of people like appreciated you coming on, and dude, I seriously thank you for taking the time. Like, actually, and we can do this again. Like, what we'll do next time, I'll actually structure it so we're not going like fucking all over the place. It'll actually be
hell yeah.
It'll be better. It'll be better.
Sounds good.
And we'll
sorry I'm dipping, but
no, dude, you're good. You're
forever, and
you're good.
I told you before that I would only be joining for 10 seconds.
Of course, bro. Yeah. Have a great day or night. I don't know what time it is for you, but appreciate it, bro. Yeah. Cheers.